the Ebro Laura Rosenberg Show.
Back from Paris, Stylez.
Talk to us about how hot it was.
Guys, it was like being in an oven. It was like 100 and I think it was 105 at one point. And I don't know, for the audience who's never been, everybody doesn't really believe in ACs over there.
Well,
Europe AC
you gotta
is
say it
a
right.
problem.
You gotta say it right.
What?
I think they would believe in it. I think it's just older, so people haven't done like, even here in New York City, we do the window joint. They haven't committed to the we're gonna have a heat wave every year. Let's get the window joint, because their heat wave is what, 30 days a year, and then everything else is mild.
This one was record breaking though. This one was definitely record breaking. But I will tell you, I have been many times, and some people are like that. I've had people tell me it's an American thing.
What AC?
Yes, we don't really need that.
Yeah, the hotel AC in Europe is still never. It's rarely great.
Yeah.
Like it'll say we have AC, and then you get there. AC.
AC.
But was it fun?
No, it was fantastic. It was nice.
Was it okay at night?
It was still hot.
It was still hot at night.
It was still
hot at
but
night.
It was better, you know.
Look, there's places in the U.S. like that.
Yeah.
Well,
When
it's
you go to-
it's hard here the next 2 days.
Well, no, I meant with the AC thing.
Oh.
Like when you get to like Portland, Oregon, they have houses and places that are just Seattle. They're not. It just never got hot enough for them to prioritize it. That's all I'm really saying.
It's also very expensive, I hear. Very expensive. So that's another thing to keep in mind. But yeah, I had a great time.
Central AC, but they could hit PC Richards. Yo, if you're over in France right now and you need
PC
like
Richards.
1,000 BTUs, you know what I'm saying? We'll get you a PC Richards joint.
Yeah,
Put it in the window.
A little something. You know who was making money? Anyone who was selling those mini fans.
Oh,
they
yeah,
were
cracking.
caking. They were caking. No.
Mini fan biz is big.
You know,
it was
speaking
cool.
of many fans, we have a White House correspondent jumping on today that we caught up with yesterday. She had her mini fan because it was hot down in D.C.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Her name is Ebony McMorris.
All right.
And she works inside the White House. You may, I don't know if you remember, but there was a time recently where Trump got an attitude with a reporter in there for pushing back against him. That was her.
I think called her obnoxious.
Yeah, that was her.
Okay.
That was her.
She's our new official White House correspondent. We're going to check in for U.S. Is it U.S. 250 or America 250?
I think it's America 250.
America
250. I'm not gonna lie, Laura. This is the beginning of a beautiful relationship. She crushed it. I'm always iffy on like, oh, we're gonna try to bring someone on and do a thing because I'm like, well, what if it's not good? Then we have an awkward thing. And she gets us.
yes.
She's into the show. She's a vibe.
She's professional.
She's
Love
professional.
it.
She's fun. She's willing to talk. Now, you guys are going to enjoy Ebony on the show.
And I was worried that she was going to be, the word is if you have access to the press room, you got to play.
You got to mind your P's and Q's.
Right? You can't just be free press these days.
Yeah, because as we've seen, anytime anybody has any type of pushback, it's like the whole room explodes.
Well, she is comfortable. She basically
Love
told
that.
us, she was like, I'm here. Hey, don't worry. Ebro is like, hey, we don't want this to go bad. She's like, hey, if it goes bad, I'll report on the other side of the fence. It's all good. No, she's cool. She's cool, man.
Yeah,
you guys are going to enjoy it. It's very good.
I love it.
Where are you guys at on the news of the day yesterday where Barstool's own David Portnoy
I'm all over it.
thinks he's going to contest Mom Donnie in the city?
What now? What now?
He was on with a guy. We haven't talked about Jesse Waters enough for worst, not just like worst right wing news people, but the smugness of Jesse Waters. Like we haven't studied it. He's gonna end up an all-time like Fox News punchable face in the history of America. Portnoy went on his show to talk about how bad Mom Donnie and the left is here. Now, in the case of Mamdani, it's probably the double. I mean, in the case of Portnoy, it's probably the double whammy. Probably got a nice mix of Islamophobia. I know he falls for a bunch of the right-wing sort of pro-Israel nonsense. I know he can end up there. But also, he's big, huge business-owned, in New York. I believe, although he moved to Florida, so I don't even know how this would work. I guess he still has residency here.
Sounds about right.
Maybe.
Wait, was he spiraling over the rent freeze?
Nah, not spiral. He's been on
Well,
some.
no, the most recent since you've been international is the amount of Democratic I need like a sweet. I need a sounder. So like when I go Democratic Socialist,
Or-
like,
Yeah, with
We're
the
getting taken
because
over.
now Washington D.C. has a Democratic Socialist mayor. She won
oh no,
right in their backyard, baby.
Oh my God,
I did see a clip of your favorite, Carolyn Levitt.
Oh, she's the best.
saying they're taking over with their radical views. The Republicans have to wake up because, as you can see, his influence is spreading. Yo, they're scared.
Well, what I don't even. Yo, by the way, I haven't seen the radical views. That's
No,
really
no.
what I'm stuck on. I want them to present the radical view.
Well, no, because some of the views.
Otherwise, I'm not debating it. Present the radical view that you think Mom Donnie and these people have. That's so radical. That's so against working people. What's so radical?
Against working, they don't care. What do you mean against? They don't care about working people. It's radical in the way that it's not for billionaires.
But that's not radical, and that's my point.
But-
And so I'm not playing a game with you. That's why I'm not debating
But
you. That's not radical.
To some of them, that is radical.
But it's not. But I'm saying for American voters,
And they're leaning way back into abolish the police, as if that's the number one thing being pushed by Mom Donnie and the likes.
Yeah.
Is
he didn't
abolish
even
the
change the police commissioner in the
Nothing.
city.
No. But they're
the
saying
Tish-
he endorsed Daria Lisa Chevalier,
Yeah.
and she once talked about
I know, I was about to say, but
abolishing
she didn't.
jails.
But she didn't run on abolish the police. Like they're literally using old things from like their past Twitter to like, you know what I'm saying? They don't have anything. Do you want to see that? Let's watch the clip, shall we?
Okay.
Portnoy on Fox.
Oh God.
Losing my mind on what's happening right now, especially in New York.
You're
I mean, you got the Nazi in Maine. This really, really, really worries me. So
You
I'm not
might
sure.
run against Mondani.
I would love to run against. If I was going to run, it would be here. Can I win here? I have no idea. I don't know the demographics, whether they get enough votes. There's a lot of people who like me in New York City. I know that. I've done a lot of good in New York City when I wasn't thinking about politics, whether it's the Barstool Fund, pizza places. So it wasn't for show. I've had a real job. I've done real things, unlike these clown politicians who have never had a job and never been in the real world for a day.
Right.
But the people voting for these people who just won are like these young, white, like Ivy League-ish, elite-ish women. It's like, who are they? Like, they'll never vote for me. They'll never believe in common sense.
When you're unhappy, you want to make other people unhappy, and that's the key. Dave?
I don't know, they just said a bunch of nothing.
When you're unhappy, you want to make other people.
The Ebro Rosenberg Show.
Do you have anything real or concrete to say? I did see when, because I tapped in when I was looking at people reacting to the rent freeze, right? They were like, oh my God, goodbye New York City. Now everything, all these buildings will be slums. Newsflash, they already are. That is the reason. These landlords have not fixed nothing. Nothing. So you think that because of this rent freeze, now the poor landlords, what are they going to do? They're like, watch, they're not going to have the money to fix anything. Well, when they did have the money, they didn't fix ish. So what are we talking about?
You're doing it backwards. The reason, the idea for the rent freeze is that people aren't getting what they deserve for their rent, and the prices are still going up. So the idea is, hey, we're going to freeze the rent, and we're going to get things fixed.
And mind you, it
but
doesn't mean no rent is being paid. It's just not going to go up.
It's not going up for 1 year.
Well, and so what Mom Donnie's done recently, obviously, and we've seen the headlines where he, sued a bunch of building owners and won, and was able to get those funds that he won and give it back to renters. I think that would be the plan long term, is that if you have buildings that you haven't been fixing and you have fines and things like that, he's going to hold you accountable. That would be the plan. However, people suspect that what they're really trying to do, the Democratic Socialists.
I wish I had my devil voice on here to do
Yeah.
Democratic Socialist.
Oh,
Oh, you have a dot, dot, dot.
Okay.
what we got.
let me
Pull
get
dot,
the
dot, dot.
going.
When we
But
talk about
while we get the dot, 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 they suspect that the reason the rent freeze will then cause the owners of the buildings to go into foreclosure, and then the city can now,
if they don't make more money this year, just this year,
more.
2
Keyword.
years. It might be 2 years.
or 2 years, they will immediately, because they weren't making any profit.
That's right. They were all in shambles. And so then they'll go into foreclosure, at which then the city will
Have to spend money to be able to-
the government will seize their property. They've jumped all the way to that.
Oh, hold on. Mom Donnie's stealing their property.
That's where they're at. That's what's going to happen, Rosenberg.
Yo, guys, when I left my apartment, that obviously was not in like a slum tenement that, as you would describe it or whatever, but is definitely run by slumlords.
Mm-hmm.
We left. I'm not going to say the number that we were paying because it's atrocious and embarrassing.
Does it require a?
It really does. It was a bad number. We left. We had been there for 4 months. When we left, they had upped it by, I think, $1,500 a month.
Yeah.
That's how much between the fall and the spring, they were like, we can get $1,500 more for this apartment. This is how they're operating. I'm not saying, for the record, are there any landlords out there who may get, are there non-a-hole landlords who don't make a ton of money, who may get a little bit hurt, like they don't have as good a year because of this? I'm sure there are people who will fall into that category. It's a really small percentage of the landlords who are going to be affected.
I don't know
here.
what the numbers are. I don't know what the percentages are. I just am not in a space where I'm worried about people who are landlords. Like you've been afforded the ability to buy property that you are now renting to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And renting at numbers where you should be able to make a profit, and you are not reinvesting in the property. I don't think the nation is in that space right now to be concerned about those things. I think
But that's not everybody. You can't say everybody doesn't reinvest in the property.
But that's the sentiment. The sentiment is we're freezing the rent because it's unaffordable. People can't afford to live. That's what we're talking about right now. And that's why I don't want to get in with the whole debate of what are his radical ideas? I'm not hearing anything radical for normal people.
Bro, because it's not.
That's all I'm saying. I am not hearing or seeing radical behavior for normal.
That he's actually trying to execute?
Yes.
No, the most radical things they'll reference are ideas that he didn't even run on and that he's not proposing. They're just ideas from Twitter or here or there that they're throwing into the Democratic Socialist agenda. You were supposed to say the drop.
Oh,
Democratic Socialist agenda. That's how they're doing it.
Oof, let me tell you, I lived in a slumlord building in Harlem. I remember my hallway, the ceiling in my hallway caved in. My toilet stopped working. And I remember my slumlord told me, hey, the apartment next door, that toilet works. You guys can use that until we figure it out. Yes.
Hang on.
Out of here.
Huh? Things like that, yo. And mine is just, we've seen horrific living conditions.
Yeah.
Like mold with elderly folks and children. Black mold, in the entire wall. It's disgusting.
Especially if some of these rent control buildings, they're so desperate to get the tenants to leave.
Yeah.
That they just let it get as disgusting as humanly possible, hoping the people will give up and go. And they can try to end the rent control of the apartment.
Yeah.
The other thing that struck me about the Dave Portnoy thing is I don't know his past. I don't know how he grew up. I don't know anything about his family. But it's tough for me to sit and listen to a rich white dude tell me that he knows what the real world is like.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's very hard for me in this day and age for me to sit up and see some rich dude talk about the real world.
He had real jobs, man. What are you talking about? He said it. And Jesse Waters was like, yeah. I want to know what Jesse Waters' jobs were prior to that job.
The Ebro Rosenberg Show.
Let's get to the rundown, Laura Stylez.
Let's go.
Laura got the rundown, turn that up. Screens on glow when she pulls
Rundown better have academics and Daphne Joy.
Why?
Hot out here.
It's hard for me to participate in the whole goofies doing goofy-ish on the internet.
That's what Bascom's covering, though. That's in the algo.
That's such a goofy. Bro wanna smack him with Daphne Joy. Why is that a story?
I'm not interested. Sorry, Rosenberg.
Aw.
I'm not.
That's a lot. Let those kids find love.
Anyway, 50 Cent will perform at Donald Trump Jr.'s members-only MAGA club on the eve of America's 205th 50th anniversary.
Very nice.
So that's the
Thursday?
story. Yeah, it's an exclusive MAGA spot. Yes, they're saying that they charge $500,000 as an annual membership fee. Never heard of this, but they've actually, they're according to reports, that
See
they've
now?
already had Ja Rule, Busta Rhymes, Timbaland in the past.
Getting to the guap. You know,
So,
getting
yeah.
to the bag.
The guacamole.
So people just kept bringing up the fact that 50 had said, even though we all know 50 Cent is super, it leans right, but that he turned down $3 million to perform at Donald Trump's Madison Square Garden rally.
Yeah, but he was probably lying.
And he was like, nah, he wasn't going to get into politics, but here we are.
Well, this was this is. I don't like it. Let's just start there. I think it's whack.
And these other names. How about?
I think it's whack for all of y'all. Ja Rule, Busta, 50, Timbaland. I think it's trash. I think it's whack. I think it's trash. And I know y'all don't need the money. So let's put that over there. The reason y'all are doing this is because you want the business relationships and you see these business opportunities for yourself. So
You don't think in some cases it's just grab a bag?
I don't think it's to just grab a bag at a private.
But $500 for an easy private performance.
It's not five. No, it's $500 membership for the club.
We don't know what they got paid.
We don't know. I don't know what they're getting paid. But yeah, okay, maybe it is just a bag. But a lot of these dudes, even when you see, who did we see? Ivanka Trump and Hove and B, and they were sitting at the fundraiser table, right? Like it's all just big money. It doesn't mean that 50's vote. First of all, I don't even know if 50's ever voted. So as much as he's chimed in on politics, do we know if he's actually ever cast a vote?
No, he's never endorsed anyone. And
Right.
50 would not be progressive, by the way.
I'm not saying he would. I'm just
saying.
saying.
I'm just saying for people to be surprised, what ideals has he ever espoused that would make you think he's like on board with like great progressive ideology?
Exactly.
Nothing.
No
No disrespect. It's just true.
So I have zero expectations, but I think it's whack. I think it's trash, especially at a time where the communities that all of y'all come from, you know, are dealing with the fallout of all of this BS. That's really the piece for me.
Well, and think about the people there celebrating it. Think about the kind of people that are there listening to you. You know, in 50's case, do basically straight up gangster rap. Think about like the kind of people that are enjoying it. Like that's literally that. What part of the game?
If
is
he
that
only
from?
does 21 questions and in the club,
okay, fine, cool. But once you start going,
if you do What Up Gangsta at Don Jr.'s club,
he's doing What Up Gangsta.
You played yourself.
He's doing it. What up, thug? Bo! Katie Miller. Bo, bo, bo! That's what's going to be happening. Stephen Miller.
Well, and that's the other trash part about this whole thing. You know the crowd sucks.
Oh.
Nah, you know the crowd is all pale pink, no rhythm. You know it is.
That's not nice. There are many whites who have enjoyed 50 properly.
No, I said that crowd.
I know, but that's why it's not even about their race. That's cheap. What
I
you
didn't
do
bring
is
up
cheap.
race. I brought up complexion.
They're extra pale and pink is what you're saying. It's not about them being white.
No, it's not about them being white. It's just they have no sauce, no flavor, no season.
It's going to be zero sauce.
Yes, Griff. Okay, tell Jamal we coming right to him after Laura finishes the rundown.
Okay, yeah, just really quickly. So, Clive Davis's funeral went down yesterday. As we reported, Clive Davis died at 94 years old. And it happened at a Central Synagogue in Midtown Manhattan. And it was, you know, obviously an A-list packed service, and it was live streamed. It opened up with a solo performance by Kenny G, heartwarming speeches by Bruce Springsteen, Alicia Keys, Barry Manilow, Dionne Warwick, Jennifer Hudson. I saw a clip of her singing I Will Always Love You, but also gave an emotional performance of Hallelujah. So the clips that I saw were, you know, it's a funeral. They were very touching.
Man, went out like a true music legend.
I mean, listen.
I think it's kind of
put in the work. Speaking of music legend, for New York City and anybody moving around the city this weekend for 4th of July, first and foremost, don't. Second of all, stay away from the Garden. I hear on Thursday, the entire block right next to the Garden, 31st Street, the one that goes west, 31st, yeah, it goes west. Mm-hmm. They're tenting the entire block
for the stupid wedding?
For Taylor Swift's wedding.
Yo, by the way, this is such an a-hole move. Well, why did they do this?
On the 4th of July?
You couldn't have done this somewhere else and kept it low key. Like you couldn't have people go to an island and have it be low key.
That takes me somewhere else where I think they're filming this.
Yeah, for sure they are.
They're filming this for some sort of like go watch Taylor's wedding at a movie theater, George.
Yeah, I believe that.
This is like, why would you? To your point, the Madison Square Garden in the middle of New York City in the middle of the summertime, you decided to block off the entire. And by the way, if they block off 1st Street, that means the block on 7th will also be blocked between at least 30th and 34th or 33rd.
No, they can't block 7th Avenue. How could you block 7th Avenue? You couldn't block 7th Avenue. You're talking crazy now.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. Even during the Knicks crazy.
Well, they won't let you walk over there.
Yeah,
they probably won't let you walk.
And I wonder about 33rd Street too. If it's 31st Street, I wonder what they're doing on 33rd Street. The whole thing, but you're right.
Be a mess.
You're probably right. It's probably for a movie.
But crosstown blocks will definitely be blocked off.
Crazy. For a wedding.
And they definitely block off 5th Avenue for parades, right?
Yeah, but
and 6th for parades.
Yeah, but I can't see them.
7th and 8th might be a stretch.
7th seems tough.
Just stay away from that area because it's going to be nasty.
It's corny though. It's super corny.
Anyway, that's the rundown.
The rundown. Intro, outro.
Just because I don't want to forget, once we go to Jamal, and we just talked about football, man, I'm so sad about the Chris Johnson story yesterday, man.
Oh, it broke
That's
my
a heartbreaker.
heart.
Wait, before we go, we have our White House correspondent that we caught up with yesterday. We haven't even.
We didn't play it back yet?
We never got to our girl Ebony.
Oh,
man.
this
I
is
wanna see
fire,
this. I wanna
too.
see this.
This
We
is
got to
fire.
get this. And it's all around us talking about America 250. Run it, Rasan. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have a White House correspondent on this program now.
That's how you know we made it.
You know what I mean?
We
This
got
is
our own White House correspondent. This is crazy.
Now, listen, her name is Ebony McMorris. She has decided it was safe to join the ELR program. The reality of it is, Rosenberg, and she told us this before we started taping, that she's already had run-ins with the president in the, what is that called? The
briefing
press
room?
room, the briefing room. Ebony, welcome to the program.
Man, thank you for letting me come on. It's an honor. I love your show. I love how y'all do politics and culture because it's so intertwined while we're still in Black Music Month.
There you
That's
go.
right.
There you go. Well, and also we are approaching the 250th anniversary of the United States of America.
That's right.
It's not so many people go the 4th of July. You know, there's people who don't know that that's actually the birthday. The Independence Day.
That's right.
The actual day that this nation became a nation.
That's right.
So that's what 4th of July is all about, even though people just think it's about hot dogs and fireworks.
Right, and this year it's 250.
250 years. Now, Ebony, what is the sentiment in D.C. around the America 250? How's the state fair? And what's the energy?
So let me just say this, you know, when I'm on the campus of the White House, when you leave out of here and walk past the Eisenhower building, it's red, white, and blue everywhere. You see Trump this, Trump that. However, I'm not seeing the crowds that I'm sure this administration wanted to see. And I think that it shows a division. Even the state fair, the coverage from the state fair was a bit dismal. The concert that he had that we all know a lot of artists pulled out of, it was a bit dismal. He has said he has wanted to have, you know, one of the greatest, the largest crowd ever. Millions are coming. Well, they haven't been coming. And a new poll that just came out, it was a Reuters Ipsos poll, said that 1 in 5 people say that they plan to skip basically Independence Day altogether. They say that they don't know what to do. The country is heavily divided. When it comes to the numbers, that 25% of Democrats, 8% of Republicans, but even more striking, 38% of those surveyed do not believe the U.S. will exist as it is as a country 250 years now. Wow. So the question is, what will we do in this next chapter? Who will control this next chapter? And I know you guys talk about it all the time. We're seeing the rise of even the Democratic Socialists, and people are just trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah. Ebony, let me ask you, what's the vibe you get from the other people around, you know, covering the White House? Obviously, we know, because they got rid of a lot of people, that a lot of people they kept there are very much on board with all things Trump. Are they excited about 250, or are people aware that this thing is not going great and not being received well?
I think people are absolutely aware of it, right? So when you come to this campus, we all know that in this Trump second administration, they opened it up to press more. There's a lot of MAGA presence here on this campus. But even when you cut off the cameras, you hear grumblings of people just trying to, they're upset about the direction. I'm just going to be honest. Now, they may say one thing when the lights cut on, but they're saying something different when we are huddling. But people are scared to fight back. They're scared to speak up. While people say, how come media isn't doing this? How come media isn't doing that? I will say there are outlets. There are many Black outlets where we do speak. But we have seen many outlets get kicked off this campus, get put out for things like saying, instead of saying, the Gulf of America, they say the Gulf of Mexico, right? Things like that when you don't speak the King's English. But we have to remember this document that we are commemorating, because some people, I'm not celebrating this day, but I will commemorate it. And it says that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that what? That all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their creator with inalienable rights, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. If you don't know anything else, those are the words that people know. But people are not, and you know this, they're not feeling that day to day. High gas prices, high inflation. We got tariffs. We got Haitians being pushed out of this country that are part of this country, tax-paying people. And so while we have white South Africans that are being given gift bags to come here, and the underlying system that we know we're fighting is white supremacy, whether people want to say it or not. You can wrap it up in economics or whatever, but this country has always had a race issue, and this day, if any other, shows that.
One of the most powerful messages came from Frederick Douglass about 4th of July. And you referenced that before we started talking, so I want to give you space to talk about it, because I think like every 4th of July for the last few, I got to check my Instagram, I post Frederick Douglass's speech about like what is the 4th of July to
a slave,
to a Black person in America. Like, what are we actually celebrating? And I think that's part of what you're seeing in this poll. And then for populations and demographics of the United States that are getting hit with this kind of new reality for some, right? Like, this is a new reality for some. Right? Like, I honestly don't really feel like the sentiments we're feeling today about the United States or the energy we're feeling from, let's call it, the Trump end of the spectrum, is new energy in America. This is old energy. This has been here. But for many people, it's a rude awakening, right? And so it's new to them. But this Frederick Douglass speech is how old?
It was from 1852 when Douglass did this speech. What is the 4th of July to a slave? And his answer basically is that it's funny because when you look at it, it was a women's liberation group that invited him to come and speak. Don't forget, he was like one of the top orators of all time, honestly. He was also part of the women's suffrage movement, but he had issues with them because they were like, white women need to have their votes first before Black folk. We're like, wait a minute, right? So he gets before this crowd and first starts off with the niceties. I love it. But then he begins to question them. We're talking about 1776. You still got people enslaved. So what is this day that you want me to celebrate? And he says the celebration basically exposes the hypocrisy of the country. It shows that the liberty that you talk about is not the liberty that I have. He didn't hate America, but what he was going to do is he was going to tell the truth. And it's funny because I juxtaposed that with Dr. King in 1967, not the I Have a Dream speech that everybody likes to talk about, not start from the top, but he also talks about the other America, two countries living side by side, one prosperous, the other full of promise, but there are those who are locked out and told to wait. Right? His argument was simple. You can't solve a problem until you refuse to name it. And this country has refused to name it. Douglass pointed it out. Countless others have pointed it out. And an interesting fact about the Declaration, as soon as it was signed, you had freed and enslaved folk saying, wait a minute, life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, all men are created equal. That includes me, but it didn't. It was a century's fight in order to get that turn. And we are still, Ebro and Rosenberg, fighting for some of the same causes, some of the same liberties, some of the same happiness to this day.
Ebony McMorris, the ELR White House correspondent.
That was a hell of a debut.
It was pretty good.
Came out smoking.
Well, and I want to commend you because I was concerned about having you on because I wasn't sure if you would receive blowback because I didn't want to jeopardize your relationship with the White House because I know that people are losing access for telling the truth. And so I appreciate you taking the time to join us.
I thank you for that. And I know how hard y'all go on here. So, and it is freeing to be able to be on this platform and speak truth. And you never know when anybody's number is coming up. But I will tell you, if the number comes up, I'll be right on the other side of that gate, still speaking truth. I'll be right in the communities that I go to after this job, where I'm helping to educate people, helping people who are on the street, giving up my personal time. I'll still be doing that. They have always tried to shut us out to access. I've heard you talk about that, Ebro, but we have got to remember the words of Douglass and others who fought that.
There you go. And also, as we celebrate this 250 and we talk about being divided, I think it's an opportunity for us to actually talk about that is the American promise, that we will have the freedom to talk about what we don't like, and that we will have the freedom to hold this nation accountable to its promises. And I think it's the most patriotic thing you can do is to look around at something that your ancestors poured into, right? Your elders poured into.
This building.
That building that was literally built by black people, and actually say, hey, you failed in many ways.
Yeah, you're not doing the job.
You're not doing
what's
the
on
job.
the paper.
You're not doing the job. Ebony McMorris, thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Ebony.
Thank you so much. Love y'all.
We'll see you soon. It's the Essential Ebro Laura Rosenberg podcast. Available now on your favorite streaming platform.